Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is Friday, February 21st, 2014, and tomorrow starts the NFL Combine. Finally, some NFL stuff going on. It's been forever. Actually, it's been only just a few weeks. But anyways, NFL Combine starts tomorrow. Players are already there. Actually, some of them have already been there for about a week now. Measurements have happened. You know, the big news is Johnny Manziel measures in at 5'11" and 3/4 after he guaranteed he would be 6 foot tall. But everybody's making a big deal about him being just 5'11", 3/4. After not only did we just see, literally the beginning of this month, we saw a 5'11" quarterback not only lead his team to the Super Bowl, but also win it very convincingly, and that was Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. So apparently there's still this huge debate whether 5'11" quarterbacks are going to be winners in the NFL after we just proved it. So anyways, that's going on. Spring training still going for the MLB, and some other college football news that we will get into right now. And did not think about this, did not see it, but TCU baseball, as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of TCU, and the baseball team is playing right now, already 3-0, and they're now in the bottom of the first. They're playing BYU in a tournament in Houston, I believe, and already 3-0 for TCU, and I'm liking the way the season's going right now. Pitching staff leads the Big 12 with a 0.75 ERA, and our hitting is finally catching up to what it should have been. But anyways, college football news: Ohio State senior quarterback Braxton Miller had surgery on his throwing shoulder today. Will be limited during spring practice, which starts March 4th for Ohio State Buckeyes. Last year, threw for 2,094 yards and 24 touchdowns. And people around him believe that the injury occurred when he played in the bowl game, the Orange Bowl, against Clemson. And we all saw, really it was towards the end of the game, but the last play of the game for Ohio State where I think he threw an interception. He was hit, and the ball just came out really bad, and his shoulder had already been banged up throughout that game. But will be limited for spring practice. But should be good to go by, obviously before the season starts. And some sad news for TCU. As a TCU fan, it's been a tough 2 years now. And this is why. Another TCU player, wide receiver Ladarius Brown, was kicked off the team after being arrested on drug charges, carrying, I believe, 2 ounces of marijuana on him after he ran a stoplight. And it seems like it's just that little thing. That's what gets him caught. One, he should never had it. I'm not saying they should have it, especially after what TCU happened about 2 years ago when a few players were kicked off the team because they were selling drugs and doing drugs and all the other stuff, and that was including Casey Paul, starting quarterback, who is a senior. Well, obviously he's now done, and will be going into the NFL draft this year, and hopefully gets drafted, but kind of doubt it. Anyways, the huge scandal at TCU, and we thought we cleaned it out, but apparently not. And Ladarius Brown runs a stoplight, gets pulled over, 2 ounces of marijuana found in his car, and then is later kicked off the team. But apparently the reason is, they're saying, sources around TCU are saying that maybe this hasn't been his first time really getting in trouble. Not necessarily with the law, but going against team rules and university rules, that sort of stuff. So which led to him getting kicked off. But this guy, 6'4", 230, wide receiver. Big time player. Just obviously TCU offense was just not the year. Only 393 yards and 2 touchdowns, but I mean, a big body receiver that we could have used, especially with the offense that TCU's inputting this year, with the air raid offense and other sorts of stuff that they're and coaches from Texas Tech and Houston for TCU. And it's like, why? Just why? Why do you got to do this? We need some help. And that did not help us. He was released on a $500 bond on Monday. Also, Florida Gators defensive back Cody Riggs will transfer to Notre Dame after graduating this May. He had 51 tackles and 2 sacks last season. Apparently, he's a big-time player. Was rated the 7th best cornerback out of high school in his draft class in 2010. And Notre Dame Irish fans are very excited to have him. Also, LSU quarterback Stephen Rivers, the younger brother of San Diego Chargers quarterback Phillip Rivers, will transfer after another graduate this spring. But this time, he's going to have 2 years of eligibility to wherever he decides to go, whether it's an FBS team, FCS team, or even Division III, which obviously won't go. But 2 years of eligibility, and will be able to play right away this 2014 season for whatever university he decides to go to. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the NC State Wolfpack. That is where Phillip Rivers played, and I guess that's where they're from, that area. So he might be going there, but he has not released any schools that he has specified where he wants to go to right now. What shocks me though is LSU. He was entering the 2013 season. He was the second quarterback on the depth chart, right behind Zach Mettenberg, who's obviously going to be in the NFL next year. And, throughout the season, somehow a freshman quarterback, I believe his name is Anthony Jennings, came out, impressed LSU enough to become the backup quarterback, the second string quarterback over Stephen Rivers. And, I really don't agree with that, because I saw what Anthony Jennings did, and I know he, led the comeback in a few games towards the end of the year after Mettenberg got out. And also the comeback win against Iowa in the Outback Bowl. But to me, Jennings was just too inconsistent. He didn't make those plays all the time. Obviously got the win. That's all that matters. But I believe Stephen Rivers is the better quarterback that could have been in there. I mean, he's 6'8" quarterback. But wherever Stephen Rivers goes, he should have a pretty solid 2 years of playing. And it'll be interesting to see how he where he goes and how he plays. But other than that, college football, that's kind of dead right now. Won't pick up until spring practices start. About 2.5, 3 weeks for majority of the teams. But NFL news wise, kind of a good amount going on right now. Obviously with the NFL Combine starting tomorrow. But right now, Detroit Lions. I was gonna say Detroit Linebackers. Detroit Lions linebackers. There we go. Ziggy Ansah had shoulder surgery apparently a couple of weeks ago. This was just now released. Had a couple of weeks ago in Los Angeles and has been rehabbing, according to Lions GM. He led all rookies in 8 sacks last season, but is expected to be okay. And check this out. So this is the news. The NFL Combine has been going around, and it's Johnny Football. Johnny Manziel, Texas A&M quarterback. Johnny Manziel measured at 5'11", 3/4. That was the measurement, and everybody's now saying, "Oh, he's not 6 foot. How is he going to be able to compete in the NFL? How is he going to do this? Is he going to be able to see over the offensive line, the defenses, all this other stuff?" And it's ridiculous now that we haven't learned from the past quarterbacks, even before Russell Wilson. It's incredible because Doug Flutie played 12 years in the NFL. Yes, it was not your typical quarterback, the one you want to build your franchise around. But I mean, overall, I guess you could say it was a successful career because he lasted 12 years in the NFL and played in the Canadian Football League, but still was able to manage to do that at his height of being 5'10". Then obviously we had Drew Brees, 6 foot, 6 foot flat, and yet wins a Super Bowl and does other amazing things, passing records, a passing touchdown, NFL, all these other things that Drew Brees has been able to do and overcome, the shoulder surgery that he went through after the Chargers released him. All these things. Still, we have to talk about size. And then, obviously, the most recent that you could possibly get as a quarterback being under 6 foot, and that's Russell Wilson. Leads the Seahawks at 5'11", leads the Seahawks, to the Super Bowl and wins it over the Denver Broncos. We all know this, and it's ridiculous that we have to just keep bringing this up. And I don't know. It's very weird why they have to make this a big story, but yes, do you want your typical quarterback? Do you want him to be over 6'3"? Yeah, I mean that's just because that's like kind of like a perfect size. But Manziel, what he can do is just amazing. What we've seen him do over at A&M for the past 2 years, and hopefully that he can kind of transition that into the NFL. I think it's going to be an awesome story to see, and I think he's going to prove critics wrong. I used to hate Manziel, to be honest with you. I did not like. I hate's a big word, but I'm going to say I disliked him as a player. His off the field kind of stuff bothered me a lot, and now I've kind of got it over that, especially what he did in that bowl game against Duke, coming back and just dominating performance of what he did. That's really what sold me back, and now I've just been a huge fan of Johnny Manziel and can't wait for him to, prove a lot of critics wrong. And enough with the size thing now. He's basically at 6 foot. And, I guarantee you right now, if he measured at 6 feet tall, it'd be like, okay, he's 6 foot. That's Drew Brees. He's okay. But just because he's 3/4, 5'11" and 3/4, he's automatically like a midget now, and it's ridiculous. But it's going to be an amazing thing to see him prove a lot of critics wrong. The only thing I wish he would do is throw at the NFL Combine, which he will not do. But I really wish he would. And there's an argument whether you throw or you don't throw. You throw, which Blake Bortles, who I don't really like, I think he's going to be a bust in the NFL. He's going to throw. He has the attitude of which I like, which is weird. He's going to do every single drill that he could possibly do at the NFL Combine, which I believe every player should be forced to do. Obviously, at their position is what they should do. Specific drills for them is what I'm saying. And I like that that's what he's doing, and I believe everybody, should do that. But, because I guess the argument was that Manziel wants to be, used to the receivers that he has. Well, to be honest with you, once you're in training camp, no matter what team, these receivers you're not going to be used to. So might as well get used to it now. And, and still throw at your pro day. Still do that because he had his interview at the NFL Combine today and said, and most people didn't point it out, but he wanted to give the wide receivers, and the running backs that he'll throw to as well at A&M, the ones that NFL scouts may not have really looked at, give them a little bit of spotlight because he knows he's going to draw majority of the teams there. So why not, help his receivers and help, his former teammates now, to, get a little spotlight in that, to be scouted, I guess is the word, to be scouted and, help them out, which is awesome, which is, that's great. If he really truly does feel that way, that is, that was a great answer to say. And that's something I would look at. But I wish he would throw at the Combine. I really wish he would, just to see how that would go. But other news on Johnny Manziel is that the Dallas Cowboys will interview Johnny Manziel as part of their 60 individuals that they'll interview. Manziel is included in that. Dallas has the 16th pick in the NFL draft. Obviously Manziel is going to be way gone before then. But, something that popped in my mind when I was reading about that was the Rams have the second pick and the 13th pick overall. And apparently they're really wanting to, see what teams are going to offer them and try to trade down and move around in the draft a lot this year. With that, I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just saying, what if the Dallas Cowboys trade the 16th overall pick and maybe another pick or whatever you want to throw in there, but trade their first round pick for the Rams' second overall pick and get Johnny Manziel? If he doesn't go to the Houston Texans, what if that happened? I know, Cowboys fans are saying, well, we have Tony Romo. And, of course, Tony Romo signed a 6-year, $106 million deal at the end of last year. Which, by last year, I mean, would it be? It was last year, but it was at the end of the 2012 season. Signed that big deal, but we saw how he ended last year, having the back surgery, missing Week 17, and then eventually the Cowboys losing against the Philadelphia Eagles. With all that, and there's questions surrounding Tony Romo on, how is he going to be able to perform? Is that back pain going to start bothering? Even Troy Aikman said that pain is not going to go away. What he suffered with now will always affect him every game for the rest of his career. And with that got to think of something like, well, maybe we should look at something. I know Jerry Jones has come out and said that they will not select a quarterback within, the first 2 or 3 rounds, or at least, quote, spend a high pick on a quarterback in this year's draft. So, obviously the odds of that happening, of the Cowboys trading up with any team to try to get Johnny Manziel or any other quarterback, the odds of that are very, very low. But it is interesting to think of, what if the Dallas Cowboys do trade up, right now with the St. Louis Rams, who have the second pick, are the most team wanting to trade around. And what if the Cowboys get Johnny Manziel? Imagine the jersey sales of that number 2 jersey with Manziel on the back in Dallas, Texas, would be amazing. I'd buy a jersey. I wouldn't hop on the bandwagon of the Cowboys. Don't get me wrong. I'm still a Chargers fan, but I'm just saying, I would buy a Johnny Manziel jersey if it said Dallas Cowboys on there. Maybe a Texans as well, but not a Jaguars. I wouldn't get Jaguars. But anyways, with them interviewing, I don't know. That would be exciting to see. In a sport, and that would push Tony Romo so much, because think about it. He's never had true competition behind him, because he's always been that guy. Maybe that makes Romo better. Maybe that makes him a little bit more clutch. I don't know. Just throwing it out there, but it would be interesting to see Johnny Manziel in Dallas, Texas, with the Dallas Cowboys. Anyways, Redskins tight end Fred Davis was charged with a DWI and was suspended by the NFL for substance abuse policy violation. And this it will be the end of Fred Davis with the Redskins, as he's going to be a free agent come March. What is it? It's 18 days from now. So whatever 18 days from now is, that's free agency. Was it March 11th? Is it March 11th? I believe it's March 11th. But this could be done with his career. He's 28 years old. He's now going to have a suspension on him. So whichever team picks him up, he's going to face probably 6 game suspension, at least 3, most likely 6 games. So you really want to pay someone money for missing 6 games out of the year. This could be the end for Fred Davis. And man, I remember I picked him up on my fantasy team, not last year, it was the year before, and he did work. And I believe he's a very talented tight end, but just got to get some priorities straightened, and this might have just screwed up his career. Another thing, Redskins quarterback Kirk Cousins is apparently not going to be traded, at least for right now. League source told Adam Schefter that the Redskins have no plans in trading the quarterback, which I think we're all looking at is he's going to be traded. He's going to be traded. Kirk Cousins will not be a Redskins quarterback by the end of the NFL draft. He will not be the Redskins quarterback. Guarantee it. I believe they set this right now is because there's no good offers. And maybe they're trying to push teams saying, hey, look, whatever you heard of other teams trying to offer us, they suck. We need something better and get something going. Because right now, we don't like anybody's offers, whatever they may have been. Excuse me. And, we need something better. And I just cannot see Kirk Cousins being a quarterback for the Redskins, because I would, depending on what team I am, you got to look at, do you want to get Kirk Cousins, who's been in the league for 2 years now, had some solid playing time? I know he's 1-3 as a starting quarterback, but I think there's so much potential in Kirk Cousins, and I think he can be a franchise quarterback. I believe that he is a quarterback that you could build a franchise around. Cleveland could be an option, but as a team, you got to look at, do you want to give away some draft picks for Kirk Cousins and possibly another player for Kirk Cousins, or do you want to take the risk, if you're looking at a quarterback in the NFL draft, at whatever round, whatever pick, do you want to take the option of getting a quarterback that's already been in the NFL 2 years and is had some playing time, you know what he's capable of, you have plenty of game film to look at to see what he's done, and he's learned the NFL offense. He's played in NFL games. Do you want to take that, or do you want to, get a draft a quarterback in the NFL draft? It's up to you. What you do with that, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Short Sports Show. We had a work order to come in and fix something, and we told them, hey, got a show today, and come back, around. It was nothing important. Come back, let's say, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, and apparently it didn't go through in time, and they came today. So, anyways, I'm professional. Anyways, we were talking about Johnny Man, or no, was it? We don't even know what we're talking about. Kirk Cousins is who we were talking about. And anyways, Kirk Cousins, I don't believe will be, Redskins quarterback. Either, by the end of the NFL draft, should not be a Redskins quarterback, should be traded. Just no good offers right now for the Redskins, and I believe something will pop up at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if it's, even later next week at the end of the combine. Something, teams talking to each other. Say, hey, check this out. But, for a team to decide whether you want to go with Kirk Cousins' NFL experience after 2 years, or do you want to go and possibly, take the risk on a rookie quarterback coming out of college, and how much do you need a quarterback? Things like that will be in consideration, which teams are already talking about. And maybe that's why there's weak offers. Who knows? Anyways, that is something to watch out for. Also, Lions defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh to get a new deal around during the free agency period, according to the Lions general manager. And also the Seahawks to release wide receiver Sidney Rice. He was due $17.5 million over the next 2 years, but has been injury prone basically his entire career with Minnesota and now with the Seahawks. He missed the final 8 games this year, and obviously including the playoffs. But hey, one thing, he got his money. Sucks that he got injured, but he also still gets a Super Bowl ring. And hey, that ring's still going to be nice on your finger. You might not get $17.5 million ever again in your life, but you do have a Super Bowl ring, and you still were a part of that team. So that is something to at least be happy for him that he gets that. Two things that one is the Dolphins head coach, and basically the entire organization right now for the Miami Dolphins. But Joe Philbin, I hope he says last name right. I barely even heard of this guy. Obviously, he's been there for a while, but just the whole staff of the Dolphins, organization of the Dolphins, is right now a disaster and needs a change. I really never went into talking about the Ricky Incognito and Jonathan Martin situation because it was really dumb, annoying, and really just dumb. It's stupid how it all happened and everything. And I just think he has no control. The head coach right now has no control over the Miami Dolphins and his roster. And just they need a clear house because it seems like there's a lot of other things going on that they really just no one's talked about with that roster and the situation. But I feel like I need to address that. I didn't know if I was going to make a discussion video on that for YouTube or not. But one thing I will make a discussion video on my YouTube channel, which is The Short Sports Show. Go check that out. Is Ray Rice. Ravens running back Ray Rice coming off his worst season as an NFL pro as a starting running back. And just the question of what is he doing? What are you doing, Ray Rice? What are you doing? Apparently there's video out there that he struck his fiance with his fist or hands, whatever, slap, punch, whatever, and knocked her out. Straight up knocked her out. Night. Everybody goes night. And he just knocked her out. And they show the video of him dragging her out of the elevator, and she is gone. And one thing we need to think about is, did he really hit her? Maybe they got an argument, if that happened, and did he really hit her, and just knocked her out, or was she kind of just a little tipsy? Actually, probably a lot more tipsy. Just knocked and just passed out, and maybe things went out of control. He was arguing with her when she was still awake, and she was drunk. Maybe he was upset about that, and maybe just kind of love tapped her on the face or something. And anyways, she's knocked out. But anyway, if it is true that he hit her and just knocked her out, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're not helping yourself. What is he, 27 years old? And, you've had your worst, stats of your career this year. And then you go and do this, and now it's on video. Ravens, what are they going to do with Ray Rice? And I'll talk about them more in a discussion video on my YouTube channel that you could just type in on YouTube, The Short Sports Show. And when you're there, just give it a like, favorite, comment, all the other good stuff. And subscribe when you're there to get more discussion videos that I have on there that are exclusive to YouTube only. But is that it for the NFL? Oh, no. Giants head coach Tom Coughlin agreed to a 1-year extension. The G-men went 7-9 this year, this past year. And I guess they just did. I really don't think he stays after the 2014 season. I think that was just probably a little comfort for him, a little just, hey, you do good, we're going to keep you for the next coming year. And then maybe we'll talk about a bigger contract if he makes the playoffs, wins the division, all that type of stuff. But if you do the same thing, 7-9, 8-8 or worse, or another 9-7 record, we're going to move on as an organization. But I think this was just a little comfort for him, and not have any stress between the GM, the organization, and the head coach of Tom Coughlin to get that deal done. Major League Baseball news, and this kind of mixed in with the NFL, and that's Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson to visit the Texas Rangers spring training camp, and will be there, will appear, or whatever he's going to do on March 3rd. It is unclear if he will just talk to the players, the younger players there, or just maybe even all of them. How to handle pressure, how to win, how to overcome, critics and all this other stuff. Or will he actually participate in drills and do a full, spring training, be a player out there? So that'll be interesting to see if he tries to pull a Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders type thing and play in the major league, or well, at least, play professional baseball and play the NFL. As a Seahawks, if I was a Seahawks management, I'd look at it and just be like, okay, dude, just really, I know you're a competitive person, you're a pro athlete. This is a sport, since you are a franchise quarterback and we desperately need you, do not push yourself. Push yourself when you're playing football and on our drills and our practices and all this other good stuff. Push yourself when you're in football. Baseball, because, who knows what can happen with that, do not push yourself. Don't try to just go above and beyond all the other athletes, which is hard to tell another athlete, but you got to look at what you have already. And do you want to risk hurting yourself, tearing the ACL, tearing an Achilles, and just knocking yourself out for the, OTAs and possibly beginning of the season? That is something to consider, but there is talks that he's just going to go and just talk to the team, and that's it. So we'll just see how that goes. Cincinnati Reds outfielder Billy Hamilton will get a chance to bat leadoff and play center field for the Reds. He had 13 steals. He's a very fast player. He had 13 steals on 14 chances, and set the record for minor league baseball last season with 155 steals in one season, not career, in one season. 155 steals. That is incredible. Billy Hamilton, if you can hit for the Reds, he will take Sin Soo Choo, whatever his name is, since he's not there anymore with the Reds. This will be something that they will be very excited for. He can be bat leadoff and start for them, because he was just a substitute player here and there for the Reds last season towards the end. Rangers pitcher Matt Harrison had an MRI on his back yesterday. They say nothing to be too concerned with, but it's still not clear on his situation. He had 3 surgeries last year alone, which is obviously a big question mark on how he's going to play and how he'll perform with the Rangers. But and it's probably why they're calling Russell Wilson. Hey, we need a little bit of help, buddy. Matt Kemp, Dodgers outfielder, he will not make the trip with the Dodgers to Australia because of his injury. And oh my God, this is frustrating. I was really looking forward and hoping Matt Kemp could could pull it off and just, hopefully make it. But just he's not there. And right now with this, we have 4 outfielders. There's, all this competition heating up. And when we think of Matt Kemp, should have been the MVP 2 years ago. The way he's performed, and last year how was just terrible season, nightmare season for him. Not all his fault, just injuries. But this is just not the time, and especially not the way to start off the season for him. Mentally, to not be able to make that trip, as the Dodgers will play the Diamondbacks March 22nd through the 25th. So it's almost here. It is almost here, and I'm excited for the season. But I'm not gonna lie, as a Dodger fan, there is a little bit of concern right now on our outfielding situation, because it's still a blessing. We have 4 outfielders that could all start and be, legit outfielders that could perform for us. But right now, it really just seemed like 3: Carl Crawford, Yasiel Puig, and Andre Ethier. Because Matt Kemp being hurt, just not the way to start off the year for Matt Kemp. And that is it for today's show. Sorry for the interruption. That was a little embarrassing, actually. But really, I will be back next Monday, as we will recap the NFL Combine and how players performed 40 times, how, the quarterbacks that actually did throw, and other things, and guys that stood out. We're gonna hear about some wide receiver, some cornerback, some skill athlete that we're gonna not have looked at and find out he might have broken the 40 time. Or we're gonna hear about some defensive lineman, offensive lineman that broke the record for bench reps or whatever. Some player we're not gonna have heard of is gonna just shock us. I know it. It always happens every year, and we will see it again this NFL Combine. So make sure you guys, if you have NFL Network or you know someone that does, go bother them and go and take over their TV or take over your TV and watch the NFL Combine. Finally, I believe this is only the second time I've been able to watch it because I haven't had NFL Network, but I will be able to watch it this weekend. But other than that, we'll talk about other news Monday. iHeartRadio, Spreaker.com. Like, favorite while you are there. And also become a follower on Twitter. That sounds so mean. I feel like that just sounds bad. Become a follower. It's just weird. But become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. Like over there. My YouTube channel where I have discussion videos and past episodes on there, The Short Sports Show. Go and like and subscribe over there. Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. You guys already know. God first, God bless. I am out. Can't wait for the NFL Combine. Jason Verrett, TCU. Just show what TCU is all about. And I'm excited for the NFL Combine. Hope you guys are too. And I will see you guys Monday. I'm out.